forgive me for what I am about to do.
Just before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to know, if you resort to swapping to triple heals, you are a little bitch. Stereotypes for each character and their mains in Marvel Rivals. God, I love making these videos. It's been a minute since I made one, and a lot has happened since season 1.5 when I did it last time. I just wanted to poke some fun at each character, the mains, little habits they do, funny things that the rest of us see, but also have a little bit of a conversation with you guys, especially you Black Panther mains. I need to talk to you guys big time. And I already know I'm gonna get this comment, so I'll address it now. Yes, I'm sure a lot of people by now have multiple mains and lords, but when the chips are down, everyone knows at least one or two characters that are their mains, true and blue. Gun to your head, you can only pick one or two characters for the rest of the time you play this. Who are you playing? Everyone has their main when it's all said and done. So buckle in, because this is going to be a bit of a longer video. I might even run past an hour. I got lots to say, and they've only added more characters since I've done this last. 2 characters every patch adds up. Let's start with everyone's absolute favorite and most respected character, Scarlet Witch. And let me tell you, Scarlet mains have no shame. They don't give a shit she's easy to use. They've heard it all. They don't care. They'll drink your tears as you cry about how they take no skill to kill you when you whiff those last 2 shots and you lost the fight. Scarlet Witch mains know they have no skill at video games. They don't really care. They might dwell on it from time to time, but then they realize, I have a full-time job. And then they carry on with their life. Scarlet mains also get an incredible dopamine rush whenever they hit that ultimate and it doesn't get stunned. But let's be honest with ourselves, every single Scarlet main knows in their heart, as soon as they pop that ult, 90% of the time, it's gonna get stopped, kiboshed, something's gonna happen. Doesn't matter how sneaky you're being. As a Scarlet main, you're just praying that the Doctor Strange on your team is at least competent enough to portal in when you have your ult. And at least not portal in like a jackass. Seriously though, you gotta love it when a Scarlet pops the ult. Out of 20 times, 19 of those times they're getting stunned, killed, it's gonna get interrupted. But the best is when they pop that ult, they're going for the big play, and it's a nothing burger. It goes off, nobody's around, there's crickets after, the other team's laughing, and your own team feels secondhand embarrassment. It's always fun to see this. Now I just want to ask you Scarlet mains one thing. Is by any chance Squirrel Girl your secondary main and your go-to flex pick? And if you ever played Super Smash Bros, did you play Kirby by any chance? You're probably thinking right now, oh my god, how did you know? Just call it gamer's intuition. Gambit is a pretty interesting one because the Gambit community is pretty new. The mains of this character are a mixed bag. You have the group of DPS players that swore they would never heal, they would never stoop that low. They would rather go 2-8 than help their team. But when Gambit was released as a strategist, they didn't sleep for a couple nights, but Gambit's still their favorite Marvel character, so they bit the bullet, and now they realize, holy shit, he's still a lot of fun, and healing's actually pretty fun sometimes. For the first time, a lot of DPS players are getting to see what it's like to be a strategist. That they were the main issue most of the time in past games where they were complaining about healing. It's a tough pill to swallow, but you're still here, you're still playing Gambit, and you guys are doing pretty good as a community, I'll give you that. The other half of the Gambit mains are already healer and strategist mains that tried to gatekeep this character from the DPS players and got mad every time a DPS player wanted to try him, essentially trying to continue this never-ending loop of complaining no one wants to play healer, but then yelling at players that want to switch roles and try to flex. Like, make up your goddamn minds. Also, Gambit, we know you guys are good at DPSing, okay? You're playing a broken-ass character, what do you expect? When you pop your ult, can you please not leave me out of it? I feel so left out when everyone's running around. Gambit never folds. And I just get left out like, come on, man. You couldn't have pinged me or something? Also, you guys might think you're the best DPS, but you're not an actual DPS. So stop frontlining and get the hell behind your tanks. Emma Frost mains are some of the most classy gooners you'll ever meet. You're loving the new Luna team up, but you're a tad bit concerned that the devs are just gonna keep nerfing this character. Sometimes you lie in bed and dream about the old days back in 2.0, 2.5, the kill power that Emma had, and the fact that she's still incredibly meta and S tier just means that ain't coming back. And also, just so you Emma players know, Every time you pop your crystal form, go for that grab and you miss it. You try to play it off cool, but we all saw it. And yeah, we're all laughing. The Mr. Fantastic community within Marvel Rivals is kind of a novelty. There's not many of you guys out there that truly main this character, and you're all pretty reliable and good with him. However, it always feels like Mr. Fantastic mains are trying to always convince you that he's underrated. His ult is underrated, like he's actually way better than people realize. And although I don't even know if that's true or not, I don't feel qualified to answer that, I can say that none of us give a shit. Your character's underrated, I don't want to hear it, I don't care. But you can't say that to them because they'll cry even more about it. We get it, you want us to appreciate your character more, you want people to talk about him more, different popular YouTubers to play him and talk about him more. I'm sorry, nobody cares. He's just there, he's cool, whatever. And I don't even necessarily like playing against a really good Mr. Fantastic, especially if I'm playing Angela, which is probably my main in this game. But I'm also not dreading it either. I don't know, maybe giving this guy a new team up in the future will breathe some life into him, but the devs have their favorite characters in this game, their favorite children, and you're never going to be one of them. And you know what's funny about the whole thing? Mr. Fantastic is probably, when you think about it, a bit underrated. Rocket Raccoon mains are some of the most chill people you'll ever meet, because they're just regular people. Like a Rocket Raccoon main is probably somebody you'd see at a party, having some beers, hanging out, whatever. These people literally just want to come home after a long day of work, turn your brain off, play some games, have some laughs. They're not taking themselves or the game too seriously. Just a bunch of easygoing players. And I love how every single Rocket main will absolutely use Rocket in quick play as soon as a Penny Lord queues in. Fucking love you guys for that, man. Since Penny is one of my mains, we are forever bonded. I legit don't even think Rocket mains have even tried to learn other characters or even tried to main other characters, they're just content with their amplifier. Rocket player base is also among the people that play this game that aren't gonna pretend like their character isn't stupidly easy to play. They don't care, that's kind of the point. They're here for a good time, they're not trying to become a pro gamer. My sentiment about Bucky mains hasn't changed much, if anything it's only gotten stronger. I used this example before, but it still fits. Bucky players are like that kid in gym class that treats it like the Olympics. Like, I swear to God, don't get me wrong, true Bucky mains are fucking terrifying to play against. When I play Penny Parker and I lock in on defense, there are very few characters that I'm afraid will move me off point. Bucky's one of them. But my God, do you guys have to try so hard all the time? I'm pretty sure you guys are directly responsible for quick play being so sweaty these days. Have you ever noticed that when you're playing quick play? Maybe you're just trying to learn a new character, just have fun. It's your first game of the day. Let's say a Bucky main is trying to flex a new character just for shits. Maybe you kill them or clown on them one time, and then God forbid they get clowned on or even just killed once. They go 0-1. They will immediately switch to their Lord Bucky so they can teach you a lesson. So the Bucky community has the hardest time trying to learn and flex new characters. They just can't let that shit slide. If they're losing in quick play, they gotta show us all that they are armed and dangerous. Then every single other player in the game just rolls their eyes. Yeah, here we go. Talking about the Loki mains in this game is very interesting because the Loki player base was riding a high for a long time. Loki was very meta in the last 2 seasons. And to be honest, he still is if you consider bans. But the introduction of Gambit has made the Loki players insecure for the first time. Loki had that whole swagger of being one of the harder to use strategists with his gimmicks, his trickery, his shenanigans, but Gambit kinda does everything Loki does, but better with more swagger. Loki now relegated to even copying Gambit's ult now. So it has made the Loki players a little bit sensitive now. They kinda lost their thunder of being mysterious with that swagger. And you almost hate to see it, it makes you sad. But not to fear Loki players because you're not the dev's favorite child, but you're definitely not their least favorite. I mean, you guys are getting the first really unique skin. We're getting a female Loki skin that's legendary. And are you guys ready? Oh man, are you ready for all the Loki mains currently to gatekeep this character now? Cause you just know there's gonna be Loki players coming out of the woodwork. Say what you will about these devs, but they sure know what they're doing. Everybody knows that Black Widow is a throw pick. Everyone knows that. It's an unwritten rule of the game. If you pick Black Widow, you're trying to piss off your team or throw. But the Black Widow community, the mains of this character, for whatever reason, I mean, you guys know that you could play another hit scan and be way better. Is it just something to prove that you're playing the worst character? Is it just because you want to look at her ass? I can see how she's fun from time to time, but how is she your main? Although I got to admit, I have played some Black Widows that are so scary that it makes me want to turn off the game and just delete it. Which makes it even sadder when you realize Black Widow has been bottom tier since day one, and the introduction to this new team up with Phoenix is obviously the devs teasing her maybe becoming a strategist in the future or a rework. So if you're among this community of players that really doesn't want to see Black Widow change, enjoy her while she lasts, because they are definitely going to make her a healer in the future, probably sooner rather than later. You gotta respect the Hulk mains in this game. Hulk is pretty bad right now with all the CC, the triple heals, but the Hulk mains still find a way to make them work and be terrifying at that. And as somebody that's played a lot more Hulk recently and tried to learn this character, man, is it ever funny and a weird feeling when you're the last man standing, then you die, the entire enemy team circles around you like they're gonna gang beat you as you turn back into Bruce Banner? What an unsettling, weird feeling. You just get absolutely gang beat to death. Some of them even use their cooldowns to kill you to get that final hit. It becomes a game of who gets to kill you. I've even had people pop their ult just to get that final hit like no one's around. Or just some funny shenanigans where they sometimes let me walk away and then they kill me. Please let me know some of your funniest Bruce Banner stories when you shrink back down into him and the enemy team just surrounds you. Just playing him more, I notice this happens a lot. It always cracks me up every time, and this shit must absolutely have you guys laughing on the floor sometimes. But Hulk players, I will say this on behalf of every other main in this game. You're not the biggest culprits in the game of this, but stop overextending, please. We see you looking back at your healers, trying to insinuate it's their fault. No. The reason you're getting dogpiled as Bruce Banner by 6 enemy players is because your big green ass jumped in way too far. I also find it kind of hilarious that Hulk, of all characters, doesn't have a rage mechanic. That must piss you guys off to no end. Like, for the rest of the community player base in this game, you guys can't sit there and tell me you don't agree that Star-Lord players have that youngest sibling syndrome. I cannot be the only one that sees that. And again, I'm not talking about people that flex this character, it's the mains, man. I'm telling ya. You guys always try to flank and flutter around like nobody sees you, but we see you every goddamn time. You guys were also whining non-stop about getting that legendary skin. Well, now you got it. But I won't lie though. When I hear that happy holidays getting screamed in the sky, I'm shitting my pants every time. I won't even lie about that. At least we won't have to hear you complain about not having a legendary skin anymore, but it kind of proves that point. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Originally, when making this video, I was just not even going to include Adam Warlock. The mains of that character would have waited to the end of the video just to realize I wasn't even going to talk about their character. They would have wasted their time, and it would have been the most lore accurate thing I could do, since the devs seem to hate this character and their player base. And you guys somehow seem to keep it together. You don't complain all that much. You're solid players, solid teammates. I have expressed in the past my tremendous respect for Adam mains because you guys are terrifying to play against. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't laughing inside when Scarlet Witch gets yet another legendary skin in the Battle Pass, while the Magus skin didn't even get the legendary status. And I know this nearly broke you guys. You almost broke character and raged out because you simply can't catch a break from the devs. If Marvel Rivals has its Nepo babies, then it has to have the black sheep of the family too, the least favorite child. That's you guys. I'd like to sit here and say that it's gonna get better for you guys, but I really don't think so. And I honestly don't really have anything negative or bad to say. The devs shit on you guys enough as it is. But I hope you can keep it together in a few months from now when Luna Snow and Psylocke get yet another legendary skin and you still don't have one. So the sentiment about Adam players wanting to be the hero to make the big play hasn't changed. They feel like the weight of the game has to be on their shoulders. Alright, so Angela is my main in this game. I'd say Angela and Penny are kind of tied for that. It's very close. Rogue has the potential to surpass both of them as my main right now, but I'm still on the fence. Who knows, maybe in a couple months, but for now, it's Angela and Penny. And obviously, as an Angela main, I can understand other Angela players better than anyone. And one thing that goes through our mind almost every game is, what the fuck is the rest of my team doing? I'm fighting both of their healers, I skewered them into a corner, I'm fighting both of them and one of their DPS, my other 5 teammates only have to fight 3 of them. How are we losing the team fight? What is happening over there? Then my team will usually say something like, we need you to peel. Bro, there's 3 of them and 5 of you, figure it out. And although Angela players, like myself, don't like to admit this, despite Bucky, Iron Fist, and Thor being terrible matchups for her, who we fear the most is Invisible Woman, especially a god tier one. It makes your life a living hell. You're probably thinking I'm not going to mention the fact that Angela players do get caught feeding on occasion. Okay, fine, yes, this might be true for other Angela players, but I never feed, I swear. Also, whenever you go to skewer somebody and you completely whiff on it, a little piece of you dies inside, cause you know everyone saw that shit. But obviously skewering somebody right off the map makes up for that, or like a Cloak and Dagger after they popped ult, I live for that shit. I don't really know why, but thing mains kind of remind me of like that football player in high school trying to play basketball or something with more finesse. You guys are really just running around out there, aren't you? Having a thing main on my team, on offense? Oh man, I legitimately almost get a little bit of a chub. I know it's gonna be fun, I know they're gonna push, I know they're not gonna be a little bitch and take that space. But I need you guys to know this. I need the whole community of thing players to listen to me right now. Every single community of every other character in this game, all of us, the minute we go on defense, you select the thing and we run up on defense, try to hold point, we are all taking bets behind your back on how fast you're gonna overextend and die, putting us down a player at a disadvantage. And we know it's coming, it's gonna happen, it's a guarantee. No thing player knows how to play defense. But my god, you guys are beautiful to watch on offense. You guys just haven't figured it out yet. So that's one thing I will say about you thing players, you guys are not scared of nothing. You guys just go for it. You guys don't overthink it and you're not bitching out for nothing. It is also fun watching a thing player terrorize a Black Panther or a Magik, or pretty much anyone that dives in the backline. The Black Panther community in Marvel Rivals. This is almost a tragedy to see, and yet I don't feel even a little bit bad. You guys did this to yourselves. Clip farming, making fun of healers that had no defense against you because you guys move at the blink of an eye. Once the apex predator of Marvel Rivals, now a shell of your former self. If you know somebody in real life that's a Black Panther main, check up on them. You guys gotta understand this though, you guys brought this upon yourselves. Remember they had that little fun exhibition where top players and streamers were playing against the devs? And they thought it'd be funny to clown on the devs with Black Panther? Well, guess what? You probably should have just played like shit against the devs and you would have got buffed. Didn't think that one through, did ya? And it almost brings a tear to my eye every time I see this, but in quick play, sometimes a Black Panther main, you'll see that Black Panther Lord pop in, they'll queue in, they think they're gonna get an easy game so they can relive the old days, and just pop off as BP, only to get shut down immediately and they have to switch, or they go negative, or they just quit the game and they disconnect. It's a goddamn tragedy, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel bad even a little bit, but I do hope you guys are doing okay. Well, if it isn't our friendly neighborhood ELO agents, Spider-Man mains. Where do I even begin? And I can already hear this community typing in, why does everyone hate on Spidey? Why does Spidey get so much flack? Well, how much time you got? Out of every single character and community within this game, by far Spider-Man is the biggest culprit of not switching when they're getting diffed. You guys refuse to switch even if it's not working. You know what's actually funny? Other than like a new character that's released, sometimes your own team will ban a character so that they don't have to deal with that character on their team. This usually happens when a new character is released, like with Rogue recently. Spider-Man might be the only and most consistent character where your own team will ban you so they don't have to have you on their team. I think that kind of tells you everything you need to know. Spider-Man is problematic, but not in the good way. It's very rare to run into a Spider-Man that's so good you can't deal with them. Honestly, when this happens, it doesn't even piss me off. It's kind of cool to watch. I'm impressed, because he is hard to use. Most of the time Spider-Mans think they're good. They might start off good, but soon as they get countered, they just swing in and out, don't get any kills, they might not die a lot, they kind of just do nothing and they refuse to switch. Why do you guys do that? Tell me, please. Also, there's Spider-Man in what feels like every single game. I can't even play one quick play, have some fun. There's gotta be one Spidey on my team that can't do anything, or it's a decent Spidey on the other team but gets countered immediately, forcing one of us to play Scarlet or Namor or somebody to deal with him. Sometimes you just don't feel like having to counter a Spider-Man and it's just annoying. I know I've mentioned this before, but it's so goddamn true. Up until this game's released, I never really understood why J. Jonah Jameson hated Spider-Man so much, but now I get it. We now know what it feels like to be a Spider-Man villain. It's annoying as shit. Now obviously I know Spider-Man's the most popular Marvel character. I have a 4-year-old son that loves Spider-Man. That's his favorite hero. And he likes to go in the practice range and just swing around and mess around, learn how to play. And I already feel bad for him when he gets old enough to actually play in proper games. He's gonna get flamed by grown adults about throwing a game and he's not even gonna know what it means. He's gonna be like 8 years old. What I'm saying in this video doesn't really apply to kids, but the unspoken universal law of this game is if you're going like 0-3, 0-4, it don't really matter if it's quick play or competitive, you should probably at least try to be a decent teammate and switch it up. But I will admit, he is a very hard character to learn, and most people that play this character do have tremendous technical skills with this game, cannot be denied, even if you're ruining everyone else's jolly old time.
You serious?
The true Daredevil mains of this game is still a relatively new community, but the audacity of these guys. They're gonna sit there, go into different communities, Reddit forums, Facebook pages, social media, YouTube comments, and sit there and type that Daredevil is a wasted ban. They're gonna sit there and try to convince all of us that we shouldn't ban this character anymore. Like, give it a rest, man. I'm banning this guy every game. He is easily S tier, he can see everybody, he has great mobility, great kill power, his ultimate is bonkers, and you guys are gonna have the audacity to try to tell us that he shouldn't be banned? Come on, man. In a way, you Daredevil mains are kind of like the new and improved Black Panthers, which I mean I guess is a compliment. You guys do technically induce fear and anxiety into the backlines the way Black Panther used to, so I'll give you that. Just don't be as stupid as Black Panther mains and go clown on the devs. If you get invited to play with them, go easy on them. Seeing as that it looks like Daredevil might be the new Nepo baby of the DPS, you might even find yourself with some buffs. There really isn't much else to say. You can try to convince me all day long that I shouldn't ban him, but I'm not gonna stop. And I'm not gonna stop banning this other character either, despite what anyone says. Hawkeye mains, man, oh man. You guys are legitimately one of the scariest and most feared communities in all of Marvel Rivals. Don't let anyone tell you different. I don't really know what induces panic in most people in this game. I'm sure for everyone and whatever character they play it's different. But on average, for me at least, I feel the most panic when I start to see purple clones of myself and then seconds later I'm waking up in spawn. This guy's one-tapping people all the time. Hawkeye's one of those few characters that can actually solo carry a game, and while everyone is bitching and crying about triple heals, do you think Hawkeye mains care about triple heals? It's target practice, baby, they don't give a fuck. Seriously, I nearly have a Lord Captain America solely just to counter this guy, man, I'm telling you. And I know for a fact Hawkeye mains are sitting there with their fingers crossed like, please don't nerf him, please don't nerf him. But I'll admit, it's hard to really say anything negative about you guys because he does take tremendous skill and patience to be that good. And you know what makes Hawkeye mains even more terrifying is one, they actually don't have big egos. I have yet to see a godly Hawkeye not willing to switch if the character's not working. The complete opposite is Spider-Man in my opinion. They have no problem switching it up, switching roles, or going with something different if it's just not working out for them. If anything, these mains probably should shower more often. Are Hawkeye players a little bit arrogant? You're goddamn right they are. And it's always cringe when people do this, but I feel Hawkeye mains do this more than anyone. They go into quick play, but they turn off their Lord icon just so they can go sweat in quick play and pretend that this isn't their absolute main character. You know you're not fooling anyone when you do that, right? I can attest to Penny Parker because this is probably my number one main, this or Angela. It's hard to decide. Penny's banned so much, but I get it. If nobody can test your nest or your setup, it's impossible to move you. Playing Penny Parker feels like you're Kevin McAllister in Home Alone with a bunch of burglars trying to break into Point. They always think that once they've died a few times, they'll be good now, they've got you figured out, only to realize that it's been 3 minutes, they haven't even pushed the payload yet, they're about a minute and a half away from being spawn trapped, and as a Penny main you can see that realization kick in, as their entire team now frantically swaps from character to character, desperately trying to figure you out. You got Squirrel Girls, Moon Knights, flying at ya, sometimes a Hail Mary Iron Fist. It's always hilarious to watch. I do find it hilarious that Penny mains will try to argue that she shouldn't be banned. Yeah, maybe in the highest elos where everyone does this for a living, but Penny has so many ridiculous tools in her kit. She can stun most ultimates with her webs that have a stupidly low cooldown. Multiple nests with the rocket team up, with the instant revive that goes with it, insane crowd control. Granted, her ultimate's not the best, it's mostly used to take space, because you can absolutely be killed in her ultimate within 5 seconds. I mean, come on guys, I more than anyone want to see Penny not banned, but let's not kid ourselves here. There's a good reason people ban her a lot. And although it kills me to admit this, but if I don't, I'm being biased towards my own character. Here it goes. Penny isn't as hard to play as her 4 stars suggest, okay? She's probably more like a 3 or 2 star character at best. There, I said it, okay? Let's move on. True Squirrel Girl mains are hilarious because everyone likes to complain about this character. She's easy to use, she just spams, yada yada. A legit Squirrel Girl main doesn't give a shit. Do you think they play this game so they can brag about how good of aim they have on Hela? For one, Squirrel Girl is a ton of fun to use. Secondly, have you ever used a Squirrel Girl against problematic tanks or triple heals? She handles these situations like 9 times out of 10. Did I also mention already that she's a ton of fun? She's over here just nutting all over everyone, they're getting so mad. And true Squirrel Girl players are the only ones that realize it's not just about characters that can aim and not aim, since most of these mains can actually aim at flying characters pretty well. Not to mention, it feels like people forget she can ricochet off objects, so you can actually hit characters that are hiding behind cover. But this community is not going to waste their breath explaining this to people because what's the point? People are going to be raged at you no matter what, so it's easier just to laugh at them while they keep dying to your nuts. I gotta admit though, you guys have some of the worst allegations in the game though. A gooner and a furry? Come on, your parents raised you better than that. These mains don't experience what is known as self-embarrassment. They don't give a shit. If they have to rely on complete randomness to win matches sometimes, then that's what they'll do. It's just so funny to me that Squirrel Girl of all Marvel characters is like Marvel Rivals' truest heel villain character, inducing rage into players in such a way that no other character or amount of skill can replicate. It's all fun and games until a Squirrel Girl main is getting countered, diffed, whatever. Then they become some of the most bitchy people you've ever met. You want to hear somebody complain about no heals, GG no heals? Some of the biggest culprits in the game. While we're talking about Squirrel Girl, it makes sense to talk about Iron Man. Yeah, you guys. Scarlet mains and Squirrel Girl mains know they're playing an easy character, they have no shame. The Iron Man community will try to convince you he's hard to use. Iron Man is seen by the rest of us as the Squirrel Girl of the sky. He has a crazy, easy, and effective ultimate, requires no aim to use on his primary, crazy mobility, and actually can fly faster to peel for health packs. And an Iron Man main will try to tell you, oh no, he requires skill because his chest beam when people get close, you gotta know what you're doing. Nobody is buying what you're selling right now. And for some reason, Iron Man slips under the cracks as one of the easiest characters in the game and nobody talks about it. And Iron Man mains hate to admit this, but they are one of the few player bases that are actually terrified of a Scarlet Lord. They've been fighting off Scarlet mains for over a year now, And you just know as an Iron Man player, if you're actually popping off with this character at some point in the game, especially if you're on console, you know a Scarlet main's coming at you at some point. You're not going to convince me your character requires skill when you're able to beam people with splash damage from across the map. However, I do hate to admit this, Iron Man players are one of the few player bases in the game that have the potential to completely change the tide of a game. Certain communities within this game have what is known as the clutch factor. You know, when the game's on the line, those big play, those big moments. Certain mains thrive in this environment better than others. I gotta say, Iron Man players typically rise to the occasion when it's called upon, whether it's their ult or getting a big kill when we need it. However, I hate to break it to you, but half your MVPs that you got with this character are because you're playing in lobbies where nobody knows how to aim. You know that shit's not gonna fly the higher you climb. You know, when I made my Stereotypes video all the way back in Season 1, I called Neymar mains crybabies, because it always seems like they're crying and bossing everyone around. Then I got a bunch of comments of them whining, telling me that's not true, only proving my point, but I do feel the Neymar mains have calmed down a little bit. They're kinda low-key, they kinda go under the radar right now. And they're pretty solid players, like, it's always nice to have a good Neymar on your team. They help defend the healers, they crowd control, all those really annoying characters to deal with, they can poke pretty good, deal with tanks, help with flyers. The only thing I will say though is you know right away whether it's just a good Neymar flexing as Neymar or that person is a Neymar main. You can tell right away, because a flex player will play Neymar to deal with certain characters or to swap, counter swap, obviously. The playstyle is different, they're both good, but the playstyle is different. Neymar mains do this cringy thing where they dive. They think they're being sneaky and subtle, but they're not. Not only is it cringe, but you're letting your healers just get massacred by Daredevil right now, and you're over here diving with your squids. I don't know. Has this ever worked out for you guys? Because I've never played against a Neymar that dove and it worked out for them. Wolverine players crack me up. One of the more hilarious communities in this game. Wolverine is actually the only true, dedicated tank counter. But Wolverine has this, no pun intended, X factor, where they're kind of a loose cannon. You don't know what you're gonna get. You could have a Wolverine that's taking over the game completely. That's like 11 and 11. The weirdest stat lines, yet they're so impactful. Sometimes they're whiffing, sometimes they're spearing Iron Mans out of the sky. They're unstoppable. It's such a weird character with a very unique community. And it's always fun to watch. But it also sort of feels like Wolverine mains are kind of playing their own little game. It's a hero shooter 6v6, we're all trying to win. It feels like Wolverine players are playing like a PvE out here. They're on their little solo mission doing their own thing, to massacre and butcher everything that moves. And I mean, you just know that if friendly fire was a thing in this game that could be turned on, well, for starters, if you think people were throwing games bad before, if they added friendly fire, oh my god. Maybe we need that for a bit. But you know for a fact, Wolverine players would be the biggest culprits of annihilating their own teammates just for sheer joy. I don't know what to tell you, I can't even say that for sure since we don't know yet, but I think I'm 100% right on that. Is there really a lot of Cloak and Dagger mains out there, true mains of this character? I mean, it's the most popular lord. Everyone and their uncle has a lord Cloak and Dagger. My dad can barely operate a cell phone. He has a lord Cloak and Dagger in case he needs it on a rainy day. But who is actually maining this character? If you are, you gotta be a girl. Or you gotta be one of those types of people that just eats the same thing for breakfast every day and is very routine. You gotta be bored of this character by now. I don't think any true Cloak and Dagger mains will even attempt to argue that they aren't the absolute easiest character in the game to use. No, Scarlet's harder to use, because her ultimate's harder to land, you can't self-heal, you actually have to go get kills to be effective. You can't hang out in the back lines and bubble yourself every 2 seconds. Don't get me wrong, I think Cloak and Dagger is a phenomenal character, and I'm glad a lot of people like playing her. If we didn't have fun and easy to use healers, we'd get so much less healing than we already do. We appreciate the service you strategist mains are doing, even though tanking is a far more unappreciated role and lonely. I'll die on that hill. But Cloak and Dagger mains are pretty consistently good healers and teammates. They definitely have nightmares of getting dunked on by Magneto, since sometimes Magnetos will even save that ult just for them, even if they could have used it on a Punisher or a Luna Snow minutes before. No. They especially like dunking on you guys. And doesn't it always seem like a Cloak and Dagger main are the healers that'll get mad if you're not peeling and helping them with dive, but they won't actually tell you. Like, they won't turn on their mic to tell you ever. Like, don't get me wrong, I get the stereotype of DPS leave their healers to die, they don't peel. Believe me, I get it, but pinging goes a long way. You'd be surprised how much help you'd actually get if you let your team know that a Magik or a Daredevil is trying to assassinate you. And then right after they don't ping you they need help, they're gonna get mad, they're gonna leave spawn next time just as Cloak, refuse to switch to Dagger, and when this happens, you know you pissed off a Cloak and Dagger main. Don't expect to get healed for the rest of the game. Mantis is kind of an interesting one because Mantis mains go right under the radar for some reason. Mantis in general gets flamed a lot for not having a good healing output, but it cannot be denied that Mantis players are scary. And something nobody wants to admit, but I will, Mantis players are probably the best DPS players in the game. It is a genuine travesty that this character has 1-star difficulty while Cloak and Dagger has 3. I get that Mantis isn't the hardest character in the game, but you absolutely have to be able to aim and know what you're doing. And I'll say something on behalf of Mantis players. Even though I don't play this character whatsoever, I'm a tank main, so I can attest to this. You can always tell somebody's feeling as tank the way they play with a Mantis in their own backlines. You can't just soak up and eat damage if Mantis is one of your healers. You have to change how you play as a tank. She just doesn't have the healing output, so you can't just expect to sit there in the open and eat Punisher turrets and expect a Mantis to be able to out-heal that. I do feel Mantis players do get a lot of flack for this, being told to switch to a better healer that can heal more. And yeah, maybe sometimes that's true, but other times you need to just get behind some cover, man. There was also that very painful 3 weeks in the summer where a bunch of new Mantis players came out of the woodwork soon as they released her beach skin. God, that was awful. To be honest, I really don't have anything too negative or bad to say about Mantis players. They're also one of the few strategist players that'll actually make callouts, ping things, let you know there's someone in the back lines. But I do feel out of all the strategist mains, none of them have better communication and situational awareness than Ultron players. I gotta admit, you guys are good at making callouts and seem to have eyes in the back of your head. A true Ultron main really does feel like you have Steve Nash in your backlines. Nothing really gets past them, you can't really sneak up on them, and I mean, I guess seeing that he's a flying character, that kinda makes sense. But with that said, Ultron players are definitely guilty of prioritizing DPSing themselves rather than healing. And this might be a bit of a bold claim, but I'm noticing a pattern here. Every time Ultron's a meta character, he was pretty dog shit the last few patches, they just buffed him, now he's meta. He was meta once before, right after his release. Both of these times he's meta is when triple heal seems to be a big problem that people are livid about. Am I saying that Ultron mains are responsible for triple heals ruining everyone's good time in this game? Enabling them to play third healer so they can DPS, like we all know they want to? I don't really know what I'm saying, all I'm saying is there's a pattern, and the allegations aren't looking too good. Punisher players, my sentiment about you guys has not changed at all, and I all think it's still dead accurate. These are the Call of Duty players that found themselves playing Marvel Rivals for some reason, and I don't mean to say this to insult you guys, because I'm not even exactly sure why this is true, but for some reason Punisher mains are one of the least intimidating to go against. Again, I'm not even sure why this is true, because there are some crazy cracked out Punisher players that completely take over games, but it doesn't seem to matter. It's just one of those unspoken rules. You see a Scarlet Lord or a Punisher Lord queue in, ain't nobody shook. Nothing against you guys, but when you faced a god tier Hawkeye or a Hela, you just simply aren't scared of a Punisher. But I'll tell you what most of us are shook of. That goddamn shotgun of yours. I know this thing can't one-tap somebody, but it certainly feels like it sometimes. If I'm playing Magik or Angela and I touch down near a Punisher turret, trying to assassinate them, usually it's curtains. But I always know when I'm playing a true Punisher main, and I start getting blasted with that shotgun. And I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't peeling the hell out of there so fast. Before I really realized how dangerous his shotgun was, it always bothered me why, when our team is getting dove, one of our DPSs will switch to their Punisher Lord. Like, do they not understand what we're trying to accomplish here? But now I get it. I do. I really do. You guys are well equipped for anyone that wants to make this fight personal. And I'm not really one to judge anybody, but if you're using the Punisher Speedo skin and you're a grown-ass man, I don't really know what to tell you, cause it's weird. Venom mains, I think, would be very good on the show Survivor. You think Captain America mains are hard to kill? I've seen Venom players survive 6v1 for like almost a minute, holding point. I don't understand. And people either just don't have the stomach to admit this, or they just don't understand Venom enough, but he definitely is one of the harder tanks to learn in this game. How to optimally just get kills, not just be a nuisance or a tickle monster, is a very different playstyle. And I can only speak from my own experience on this, but I've been playing this game very consistently for an entire year, and Venom players seem to be pretty hilarious people actually. They're usually on the mic, they're funny, they're having a good time. Playing competitive in Marvel Rivals means that everyone's always looking for the weak link on their team. You know, that one person that just happened not to get one shot in on that one kill your entire team has while getting steamrolled, so they can put all the blame of you guys losing on. But it always seems like Venom players that are just relaxed, like, hey guys, let's chill out and just maybe switch it up a bit. And I know you guys think you're being funny with your twerking emote. It wasn't funny then, and it's not funny now. You know, the longer this game's gone on, the more I realize there is a boatload of Magic players. You see this Lord icon almost as much as a Scarlet Witch. And Magic players definitely seem to have a chip on their shoulder, especially now since she's definitely taken a step backwards. But one thing I will say about Magic players though is they're serious. Not Winter Soldier level serious and try hard, but pretty close. They don't mess around, they're not goofing around out there. But my god, you can really tell the difference if it's somebody flexing as Magic and somebody that mains them. Because the mains will insist that they can deal with the flyers. No, you can't. It's been 3 minutes and you not killed Iron Man once. You were doing good, now they've countered you, it's time to switch. And for some reason it's always the standard Magic players that seem to pop off and are more intimidating than the Lords. Just a bunch of merchants living off that demon. Because I'll tell you right now, you've missed your dash 3 times in a row, and trust me, we all noticed. Actually, jokes aside, I think Magic is one of the few characters that maybe her dash could have a little bit more forgiveness with the hitbox. It's kind of refreshing to see top 500 and the best Magic players in the world miss their dash on a consistent basis. And of course, Magic mains will always feel insulted that Magic as a character seems to have gotten snubbed out of the conversation of best characters to goon over. Magneto mains are the 9 to 5. They log into this game and go to work, clock into their shift, put in the time, and go home. Now obviously deciding what makes a character fun to play is subjective to the person playing, but on average, unbiasedly, Magneto is one of the more boring characters to play. Magneto players know this, they've played this character because they want to win. Magneto is just a solid meta, balanced character, bread and butter pick. In a way, it's sad because these Magneto players really are that 50-year-old that's been working the same job for 20, 25 years, just putting in the time because they have to, not necessarily enjoying themselves all the time, you know, except for when they get to ult on a Cloak and Dagger and dunk all over their dreams. And I still think Magneto players are the most micromanagey of all the mains. They're always trying to tell everyone else who to switch to, what the team needs. But I gotta say, it's been nice to see the Gambit team up and see you Magneto players just having a little bit of fun finally. And the Magneto community as a whole can take comfort in knowing that their character is probably never getting nerfed. He's gonna be S tier or at least A tier every season till this game is dead. Them just the facts. You can come back to this video in a year or 2 from now and he's still gonna be meta. When it comes to Moon Knight, I'm actually going to take the high road, because Moon Knight often gets clumped in with like Squirrel Girl or Iron Man, which, to be fair, has its merits, but I think there's a little bit more to this character in the mains. In the right hands and the right situation, Moon Knight can be one of the more oppressing characters in the game. And I've actually started banning him a little bit more depending on what I'm using and the map I'm playing, and more times than not, it's a pretty successful ban. I feel this character is a crutch for a lot of people when the chips are down and stuff's not going their way, because these players will farm his ultimate in like 5 seconds. Like, you leave spawn, and literally 5 seconds later, the moon is haunting you. How? In my opinion, some of the more underratedly scary players to go up against until you close the gap, fighting them close combat, then they kinda wilt. They throw an onk at their feet and just start panic spamming. Sometimes I'll step out of the circle and just stand there for a second, laugh a bit before I kill them. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again, because it's still true. It seems to be really hard for people to understand when the enemy Loki player is the more problematic player that's suppressing you. And it only seems like Moon Knight players understand this and try to counter it right away. I also think Moon Knight players aren't necessarily caring too much about this triple heals. But my god, you guys are another big culprit that cries about not getting healed enough. People that main Invisible Woman are either wholesome gooners or usually girls. It's one of the two. There are certain characters that are obviously nepo babies to the devs, and yes, Invisible Woman is one of them, but kind of underratedly one of them. People don't flack on Invisible Woman nearly enough as they should in this regard, because let's be honest, she's been pretty solid as a character since day one, and she really didn't need the buffs. But since this is the first character I ever lorded in this game and is my go-to strategist, I'm not complaining. Being that I have 2 kids and a wife myself, if I'm gonna goon over anyone in this game, it's gonna be the character that's not only hot, but is a great wife and mom too. And something I can personally attest to as somebody that's played this character a lot. Sometimes when the fight is lost, yes, we will go invisible and we will watch you all get massacred and there's nothing we can do. I mean, sure, we could try to heal you before we inevitably all die, if it makes you feel better that we die with you. But fuck that, man, I'm trying to keep my kill to death ratio down. Will invisible players sacrifice you to save themselves in order not to die? Yeah, they will. I have to admit that one. Sometimes DPS players, as much bullshit as they cause all of us, especially ones that never switch or flex, sometimes they will be triggered because they're like, yo, you could have saved me. And they're absolutely right. And although obviously this is not true, it does feel like Daredevil specifically was brought to this game just to counter Invisible Woman. It sort of feels personal. So ban him or I'm going to throw. Iron Fist main's got some of the most swag in this game. And something very few people ever talk about when it comes to Iron Fist, he's one of the few characters that's like the jack of all trades but master of none. And you never really have to switch off if you're being countered, because there's really nothing you can't deal with. If you're playing Magic and you're really good, the enemy team will usually leave spawn eventually with flyers. Everyone has their counters, but what are you really countering with Iron Fist? People that main this character really never have to swap if they don't really want to. They can hold their own against anyone, in the skies, backlines, front lines. They can square up 1v1 with just about anyone. And I mean, it's always a little nerve-wracking to hear that cheaper town hall popped. You know you're about to catch some hands. And Iron Fist players are probably the most dedicated of every single main in this game. There's at least an argument there to be had, because let's be honest, the devs are terrified to make this character a little too good. They did at the beginning of Season 2 for half a patch, and they're like, never again. And I'm sure Iron Fist players are having the easiest time figuring out Rogue's new kit. This really isn't so much for the Iron Fist mains, because you obviously don't have this problem, but people trying to learn any character, there's obviously growing pains, and it sucks for the rest of your team. Like, there's nothing like watching a new Psylocke player try to figure that character out while we're all getting dog-walked. But it feels like people trying to learn Iron Fist, man, that one's hard to sit through and watch. Jeff mains are definitely among the characters in this game having the most fun. You guys are nepo babies because you're always going to get great skins, but I feel like Jeff, it kind of comes with the territory. He's the fun mascot. He's never going to be taken too seriously. This character used to be one of the most obnoxious characters to fight. He was always backlining, he was hard to kill. They reworked him to be more of a generic healer now. Jeff players don't seem to mind all that much. They love playing the 18v18 mode. And no matter how serious the match is, how much we need to win, they won't hesitate to have some fun in the meantime, pop a funny ult, although sometimes it's hilarious to watch a Jeff just whiff that ult. You guys are also low-key, I wouldn't say scared, but you don't care for Scarlet Witch players, let's just say that. And I still think anyone that mains this character is probably under the age of 15. Or an ultra-casual gamer that found themselves playing Rivals a bit more seriously. Hela's kind of like your bread and butter meta character. She has been since day one. If you main this character and you're on console, then you're probably pretty consistent, but sometimes you're still fighting for your life to get consistent with her aim. If you're playing this character on PC, then more likely than not, you stream this game, you make content for it. I still think most people that play this character are the Overwatch veterans that are always trying to give coaching or give tips that nobody asked for. But she is definitely a terrifying character to run into. You do not want to run into one of these mains on a consistent basis. And you probably won't, since most people that actually main this character are probably playing in a rank that you're never gonna make. But that's okay because you have more friends in a life than they ever will. So really, who is the winner here? Hela mains also only believe in showering once a week. As a Phoenix main, you know you're never going to be as good or as favored by the devs as Hela, yet I feel like these two communities kind of commingle because Phoenix mains are probably ex-Hela mains that still play that character a lot, and Hela mains are flexing Phoenix as their secondary 90% of the time. They both kind of clump in together. Phoenix mains will say, well no, she's so much different, she's better at closer poke. With her ult, she counters Rocket Beacon, Penny, she's very different. Yeah. We still don't hear that shower running. Phoenix mains are terrifying as well. And I absolutely love having one on my team because they are team players, they'll make callouts, they can hard carry, they'll help out their healers, but I hope you guys realize at least Hela's going to be getting 2 or 3 legendary skins before you get another one. I just hope you've accepted that in your heart by now. This one's a very interesting community to talk about, and from what I've seen so far, I actually like the Blade community. You guys are probably one of the few DPS players that will actually go to bat for your one solo tank, go in the trenches with them on the front line so they're not alone dying, just taking shots from 6 different players. And besides that, these are just players that really like to do a bit of everything. Fight up close, tank it out with the tanks, poke a little bit, be able to do a little bit of everything, but yet they feel this character is unappreciated and underrated. Daredevil's kind of stolen that thunder that Blade was supposed to have. I know the Blade community is not that old, but I really do like what I see so far. But I definitely do feel like it's Blade players that will ban their own character once in a while, just so they can say, see, he's dangerous, he's problematic. This is some liking your own status on Facebook type shit. Doctor Strange players are cool as a cucumber, they never get rattled, level-headed folk, starting to feel just a little bit used for their portal. But Doctor Strange players definitely have a knack for DPSing and have quite a bit of finesse and swagger. I'll definitely give you guys that. You guys move around nicely out there. You guys are enabling the Scarlet Lords to feel like they can insta-lock a little bit more, which is not ideal. But this isn't exactly your guys' time to shine now, is it? Feels like Doctor Strange has been struggling a lot lately. There are just other tanks that can do what he does, but better. And Gambit's introduction definitely did not help Doctor Strange and Groot players. It also feels like Doctor Strange players are the biggest culprits of queuing into quick play. It's a really close match, you barely get the win, and they'll be like, GG's easy, and honestly, I'm all for it. But Doctor Strange isn't the only culprit of this, but one of the bigger ones. When they're on a losing team and they feel like they're the only good player on their team, they'll complain and bitch to the enemy team about their own team, looking for sympathy or something, like they give a shit. This actually makes you look like the biggest loser on the team, you do realize that, right? Groot mains are kinda awesome, not gonna lie. These players seem to have very level heads and great energy. They kinda remind me of Tim Duncan in his prime. Going to his bread and butter moves, super slow moving but yet you can't stop them. Usually they get more kills than any other DPS. And unlike everyone else that gets mad when they get countered, Up until recently when Groot got the buff on his iron walls giving him some stability, Groot players would just laugh at the fact that somebody has to switch to Wolverine just to counter him. But now it's even funnier with their iron walls, even Wolverines can't necessarily kidnap them like they used to. I also have to have a ton of respect for Groot because during the holidays, I was able to rank up to Grandmaster. In my rank up game, a game that usually people think they're gonna lose, I had an immaculate Groot on my team and it was awesome. It's honestly hard to say anything bad about Groot mains, especially since every single Groot player probably feels the pain of queuing in, and you're immediately gonna have to solo tank 90% of the time. Even if another tank's already selected, they'll switch to DPS if they see Groot, because they assume you're good to solo tank. I do still think Captain America mains are some of the most selfless players in the game. They're pretty lore accurate, they want to go for the win, they don't care about stats, and I can kind of attest to that since I've played games myself where I have to counter a problematic Hawkeye. My stat line looks pretty meh, but behind the scenes, you're doing a lot more than the stat sheet shows. And it cannot be denied that playing against a good Cap main makes you kind of miserable because they never die, they're in your backlines all game, but it's kind of a two-way streak because Cap mains can't be having that much fun doing this. Do you guys really enjoy playing a character that you literally just run and jump around everywhere? Here we all are playing a 6v6 hero shooter. Cap mains look like they're out there playing a late 90s, early 2000s platformer game, jumping around, running, collecting shit. And I'll be honest, I have not once seen Captain America and Bucky players ever use that team up, like, at all. And I play this game on nearly a daily basis. Storm is an incredibly rare character to find, especially the mains. I'm not a Storm main, but this is now my main DPS for the last 2 to 3 months. I've been putting in the work and practicing with her. And although I do find her a ton of fun to use, subjectively speaking, yeah, she is probably one of the more boring DPS to use. Probably is the most boring. Most of her value comes from just being alive with her damage boost. Obviously some Jeff Nados will always be useful. But what really made me pick up this character is the fact that you never see Storm players. It's very rare. And she seems to be sneaky good, A to B tier, not S tier, but good enough that she's useful, but not too good that she's gonna get buffed and nerfed back and forth non-stop. And I can't quite attest to these things as much as like a true Storm main can, but man, isn't it frustrating when you pop her ult and everyone just scatters? The worst part is when a Jeff has that ult, you try to coordinate with them, and they ult either before you or after you. There isn't really much more to say about Storm. You don't really see these players like at all. And for the Storm mains, are you guys taking a break from the character? Is she just not worth playing right now? Is it because she's too boring to use? A little bit of everything? Does triple heals got you down because that can be annoying? Let me know in the comments. As for Human Torch, the devs simply can't make their mind up with you guys. This is like a bipolar relationship. Being a Human Torch main is kind of like going to camp for the summer, or owning a nice sports car. Yeah, it's fun to use when it's usable, but in the wintertime, you're cooked. You gotta winterize it and put it in the shop for a while, till it's usable again. The devs always have Human Torch mains in this limbo, where he's usable, maybe even broken, and then he's borderline unusable. The least picked character in the game last patch. It's gotta be tough being a Human Torch main, because he's a seasonal character. Like I said, you only get to use him half the time, half the year basically. And it's not like you're getting an abundance of cool skins to make up for it either. Or really any cool team-ups for that matter. Yeah, the longer I think about it, I have to have sympathy for these mains. And the odd time you do run into a good Human Torch main, they are pretty fucking annoying too now that I think about it. But easily countered, let's be honest. Human Torch mains don't really have any stereotypes of complaining, certain habits that are annoying, because honestly the mains of Human Torch are just happy they can play him while it lasts. And sadly enough, as you're watching this video, at least if it's before Season 6 drops, he is somewhat playable. But you guys gotta know deep down, you're gonna have to put him on the shelf again soon, no doubt in my mind. You know, what's funny about Thor players is not only has my sentiment about them not changed at all since early in this game's lifespan, but it's only gotten more true and grown. That will take your lunch money any chance they can. Certain characters are subtle. When they're taking over a game, you might not realize a Hawkeye is until silently you see two of your teammates are dead. Thor comes in crashing, banging, guns a-blazing. You know when you're facing a good Thor immediately. But one positive of facing a good Thor is, the reason these mains play this character is because they don't have the mechanical skill to play somebody like Iron Fist, Spider-Man, or BP. But yet, they want to have the same kind of annoying impact on the game, and induce the same amount of rage to the enemies. Hence why they main Thor. The Thor community is the only one in the game, if you diff them a little bit, get the best of them even one time during a match, they will never forget it, and they will hunt you down for the rest of the game. They will abandon the mission area, the point, the objective. Hell, they might even take the L for their entire team just to chase you down and kill you, which is hilarious behavior. With that said, I love playing with Thor mains. Being that Angela is one of my absolute mains in this game, but every time I queue in as Angela, anyone that mains Thor immediately swaps, and we just wreak havoc every time. The enemy team is going to be forced to sweat it out with us, to counter us, or take the quick L. And I love that you Thor players never turn down this opportunity. Keep doing what you're doing. Rogue is interesting because there isn't really any stereotypes yet. The mains of Rogue in the community are forming as we speak. And I myself might even be a part of that someday. I'm not sure, I'm still on the fence. Because most players have no clue what they're doing. Hell, I'm still even got a lot to learn with this character. But man, watching people try this character, you can really tell if they know how to play tank, proper positioning as a tank. It's absolutely painful to watch. Not as painful as missing Rogue's dash though and grab to steal an ability. Missing that and having to wait 25 seconds to refresh genuinely hurts my soul. But man, does it ever feel like she can do a little bit of everything. And sometimes I genuinely feel like I can survive on point forever with her. But she's absolutely trash against poke. For the early Rogue mains and people that might main this character, what improvements would you like to see with this character? For me personally, I don't see it unreasonable to lower some of her cooldowns, especially her grab, since Penny Parker, who I'm not biased, that's one of my own characters, can web up people on a stupidly low cooldown. Rogue's ability absorption isn't broken by any means, and they need to give this character some kind of shield. Bucky's can just grab her at any point. You can't shield from a Scarlet ult. Hell, even Cap can. I think if they just lowered some of her cooldowns and gave her a shield, she'd be alright, since this character is getting massacred by poke. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Now you probably noticed there's only two characters left to go over, Psylocke and Luna Snow. I left these two characters for last because they're the two biggest Nepo babies in the game. So I thought for a change, you guys can wait on everyone else and take your long overdue turn at the back of the line. We'll start with Psylocke, a character that gets a legendary skin almost once a week to cater to the most loyal and most severe Gooner fan base in the entire game. Gooners so powerful that they were willing to learn one of the hardest characters in the game. And make no mistake, Psylocke is broken. She will be an A to S tier character probably for the entire game's lifespan, since the devs fucking love her. But with that said, she is incredibly hard to use. And unlike any other mains in this game, true Psylocke mains have to keep up with this character. They can't flex nearly as much as you or I can, because if you take, for example, an entire patch off of playing Psylocke, and then try to pick this character back up after that, you feel it. You have to be locked in and can't really coast out there, or it will be noticeable right away. Certain characters can hide behind having a very mid game with pretty mediocre stats, kind of blend in. Not Psylocke, you can't, you gotta be locked in. And it's always funny when a Psylocke takes over a game, then the other team is like self-collapsing. Like, guys, why didn't you avoid her ult? How did you die yet again? Like, bro, she came out of nowhere and killed us all before we could react. What do you want from me? But unfortunately, when it comes to Psylocke, you do have quite a bit of frauds out there. And I know you guys know who you are. And before you Psylocke mains try to say something along the lines of, well, she's actually my favorite X-Men and Marvel character, yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there. There might be one of you that's true for. But for 99% of you, that's bullshit. And finally, last but certainly not least, of course, Luna Snow. Are these mains scary to run into? Yeah, they are. They're not necessarily fun to dive because you'll get snowballed and clapped. Flyers will even get clapped by her. But let's be honest, not one of you, and I mean one of you that mains this character, knew who this character was until Marvel Rivals, making you the most pure gooner in the entire game, and probably a meta slave. Luna players might even try or attempt to say, well, she's not been that good this season. Gambit and Invisible Woman are better. Oh, so you want us to feel bad? That you have one half of a patch where you're not absolutely goated? Where your ult isn't absolutely goated as the best ult in the game? While you get a legendary skin more times than Adam Warlock, Human Torch, and Star-Lord get any kind of skin combined? I don't know what you guys are stressed about. You are the dev's favorite character. You're gonna be meta in no time. Don't worry, I'm sure she's got some insane buffs already locked in for the next live stream. The only other mains that aren't jealous of your nepotism in the game right now are Emma Frost mains, because they're just trying to get that team up. But I'd absolutely be a liar if I said I don't absolutely love having Luna mains on my team. This is also another character that a lot of girls main as well. I know it's kind of a stereotype to say that girl players make great healers, but this is a stereotypes video and it's kinda true. Girl Luna mains prioritize healing and keeping their team alive, and I do have to admit Luna mains don't usually complain about dive, because they're usually capable of killing a dive character themselves, no problem. Sometimes they're capable of doing this better than their DPS, honestly probably more times than not. I'll even give you guys a bonus one, Deadpool. The devs have been trolling us whether he's going to be a DPS, a healer, a tank, or a lot of people seem to think a brand new role. Honestly, I'd say nothing's off the table yet, but what I can say for certain, even if this character isn't out yet, is Deadpool's going to be irritating. He's going to be like a mix of Spider-Man, Daredevil, with the annoying twerking Venoms, all wrapped up into one character in that player base. Seriously though, the bans for Season 6 and competitive is basically going to be Deadpool for sure, because everyone's going to be insta-locking and throwing with that character, and probably banning Loki too, to weed out the new Loki gooners that are now trying to learn this character in competitive. And that is the stereotypes for every character in Marvel Rivals. I can already hear you typing in the comments, how I got it completely wrong for your main, this isn't true, and to that I ask, do you main Namor by any chance? But seriously though, it's all for fun. There are funny things and habits you can make fun of for every character and their mains. And at the end of the day, we all love playing the same game. And though sometimes people forget this, Marvel Rivals is meant, and get this, to be a game to have fun, to enjoy yourself, to play characters that you like. So hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.